Hello, welcome to our book study, Rise of the False Gods. And it says, A Guide to Transformation Through Illumination. So I'm hoping that over the past many weeks, you have been able to find a little illumination and enlightenment, maybe to help understand your life, the things that feel like they're working, and the things that feel like they're not, and how you can change them. If this is your first time watching the video, know that you can go to YouTube and you can search Rise of the False Gods, Alicia Leslie, and you will come to the folder that has all of the previous study group gatherings in it. So, also, feel free to comment. I love seeing your comments and knowing that you're there, and I can ask, I will be more than happy to answer questions. I may not see them because I don't see everything when I'm doing the video, so I would have to I'll answer the question after, okay? So tonight we are getting into some juicy territory, and it is the 7 deadly sins. Now those can be, just the word deadly, it's scary, and what does that mean to you, the 7 deadly sins? Does it mean you're going to commit them and go to hell and burn forever? Or does it mean something else? Let's take a look at that. Okay. Now, I'm going to be reading from the book. You can get it on Kindle, or you can buy it at Amazon. Amazon. And, or you can contact me. You can private message me on Facebook, and I will be happy to send you a copy. We are currently on page 55, top of the page. It's the 7 deadly sins, playground of the false gods, and their antidotes. Reading, the 7 deadly sins are error ideas that block one's spiritual progress. They are deadly because if we don't overcome them, we will remain earthbound and suffering from disease of the psyche. Now, dis-ease in this case is looking at a sense of perfect ease, and that is the way we were meant to live. Life was meant to be good. So through our dis-ease, which is our discomfort of the pain and suffering in life, we actually manifest disease. And everyone knows that stress is very, very unhealthy. It causes all kinds of things from, to strokes and ulcers and things like that, and anger. So all of these sins are deadly because they run contrary to the life force of spirit, the energy of spirit. Let's take a look. Most of the deadly sins, all of the deadly sins are ego-centered. It's where we find ourselves doing things with excuses to try to validate them rather than actual reasons why we're doing something. In the area of rationalization, I say we are telling ourselves rational lies. Okay? Let's begin with pride. Now, this is one thing you want to wrap your mind around. Everything has 2 sides. There is ego-centered pride, and then there is the pride that we take, for example, in doing a good job. We do something that we're proud to put our name on it. You see the difference between pride, thinking that, as it says here, Pride, false pride, is the belief that we are better, prettier, richer, holier, etc. than others. It negates that God is our ultimate good and we are all equal children of God. When we are in the false pride state of mind, false gods can manipulate and flatter. We are manipulated by flattery if we are subject to the error of pride. Just about everybody knows that beneath the pride is actually fear of not measuring up. So some people can get themselves to a point where they just so focus on how important and wonderful and special and better than they are, they really start to think it. But still, underneath is a feeling of not measuring up. Also, another negative form of pride is self-hate. It is thinking you'll never measure up. That's like a reverse pride. It's what is that word? The only thing I can think of right this second. The word is escaping me. I can see it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't see it. You see it? It is self-denigrating. So we feel like we are not good enough. And that leads us to have negative feelings about anyone that we perceive is better than ourselves. But every deadly sin has got, I'm having a hard time thinking today. It's been a rough one, hasn't it? Tough news cycle. Okay. There is an antidote to every deadly sin. So here's what you have to work with if you find you are experiencing being prideful. You look for the good in others. Know that there's plenty for everyone. Nobody has to be the best, the fastest. There's where we have healthy competition and we have unhealthy competition. In the healthiest of all competition, we are simply striving to beat our last best for our next best. Nobody's put down, nobody loses, everybody gets better. When we have pride, a healthy pride, for example, in a football team or the fact that we cheer them on. When we cheer them on for the right reasons, we cheer them on because they play well, because they play wisely, because they play with integrity and dignity, not taking advantage of anyone in order to win. You see? There's winning and winning. The best story I ever read was about two teams of Little League ball players. Well, two leagues of Little League ball players. Anyway, they had a practice in their leagues that they would play the game, and whoever won bought the other team pizza. So they all had pizza together after the game. Isn't that wonderful to think that we would win? And then we came to a place where a lot of people will argue with me, and that's okay. Little reminder, you don't have to take anything I say as the absolute, this is the beginning and ending truth of it. But I would like you to consider what I am saying. There's the new thing where everybody gets a trophy, lest somebody's feelings get hurt. Well, when everybody gets a trophy, that kind of takes the joy out of being a champion. And it also waters down the feeling of accomplishment that one gets if a prize is won. Pride is pretty tricky. but behind it is intention. What is the intention? Sportsmanship is to be honored, and the thought of cruelty in order to win, or tricking, or anything like that. What is it they call it? Doping, doing something to win falsely. That's not really winning. The only really winning is flat out honest winning. Okay, we want to see equality among all people. Narcissism is another definition of this behavior, and believe it or not, it is reaching epidemic proportions. And I read that like 25 years ago. For more information, you can go to The Narcissism Epidemic, Living in the Age of Entitlement by Jean Twenge and W. Keith Campbell. Check that out. It is an excellent source for understanding why narcissism is becoming so prevalent and the danger it presents to our culture, our spiritual growth, and living a good life, which really, isn't that something we all want to do? Okay, envy. Envy is desire and jealousy regarding others' possessions or achievements. This can include money, attractiveness, power, status, talent. It negates the divine idea, because it assumes favoritism by God and the error that someone else has everything you deserve. Well, you know what? That is just not true. It may feel like God is playing favorites, but God cannot play favorites because we are all God's favorites. I know that sounds really kind of like, whoa, you got to be kidding me, but it is true. If you feel envy about someone, you're putting your focus on what they have, and you're reinforcing an idea that you are in any way lacking. By the time you get to be my age, if you're not there yet, one day you will understand that all those things that you had envy and jealousy and bad attitudes about, they really don't matter now. They really don't. So the antidote to envy is to count your blessings every day. Instead of what others look at and what they have, develop your own untapped potential. You are special. You are a beautiful and beloved child of God. There is nothing to envy. If you're so busy envying someone else for what they got, you're not showing off what you got. What have you got? A beautiful spirit, a beautiful soul, a kind heart. So many things that we have. You have talents, and don't try to be doing someone else's talent. Do your own. When I first became a minister, I would hear a preacher that I really liked, and I would say, oh, I wish I could preach like them. But then that was only because I didn't have enough really being grounded in being who I am and what I am. And whether one person is listening to me and watching me or whatever, or 100,000 or the entire world, doesn't matter. My job is to express the best of who I am. I will never be Joyce Meyer. I will never be Pope Francis. Chances are I'll never be the Dalai Lama. No one's come knocking at my door to tell me it's my turn. But I pray that what I can do is share wisdom and share it with an open mind and an open heart, and try to help others have a better life. Okay, so that's envy. Now we have wrath, which is anger. Now, a wrathful person is always angry and thrives on the adrenaline produced by their anger. At the core is a false belief that everyone has victimized them. They cannot get a break. It negates the divine ideas of love, harmony, peace, and wholeness. Now, as we go through these 7 deadly sins, I'm hoping that you will also be seeing that each one of these conditions, these ideas, bring us suffering. Because if we're not getting what we want, we are suffering. What is that? Dis-ease. If we are in a state of dis-ease, we are and harmony, all that is good, which is what God's will for all of us is. You know, it says here that the wrathful person is always angry and thrives on the adrenaline produced by their anger. Did you know that people love that rush? It's a part of addiction itself. Now, adrenaline is and I am not a doctor, and I probably will say this very poorly, but adrenaline is like a hormone. It stimulates the fight or flight. And some people just, they just really get into their anger, and they're always road rage at work, and that is totally unhealthy. That's why anger is a deadly sin. You ever see the people? You have a friend like that? Are you like that? Nah, not you, right? I remembered my water. Okay. Now there's another hormone, and that is called endorphin. So we've got adrenaline, which is fight or flight, and we've got endorphins that bring us to a peaceful state, to a joyful state. Do you know the way that you can start generating endorphin is laughing or doing something that makes you feel good and happy? And, you know, it can just be a phone call or a letter from a friend. Sometimes it can be a coupon for something you want to buy at the store. Far be it that we should be getting addicted to adrenaline. Rather, we want to be engaged in things that make us happy. The antidote, and anger, by the way, this is really interesting. Anger is frustration at our inability to make someone else do what we want them to do. Think about the last time you were angry. Now, it doesn't have to be a person. It can be a thing. It can be a skill that you're trying to develop. And we get mad because we can't do it. But the thing, and think about the word mad, because that means you're out of your mind. So when we're angry, we're actually not in our divine mind, our higher consciousness for sure. So the antidote, when feelings of anger arise, we can take a deep breath and affirm, nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. Relax your body. Repeat it. You know, I want to just step back real quick to envy. A little back, because I forgot to tell you something there. And that is gratitude. It did say gratitude, and I wanted to share with you my gratitude practice is every morning when I get up and do my prayer time, I have a gratitude list. Now, I know a lot of people do gratitude lists. what I do that's a little different, that I learned from a great little book called The Magic, is to write down not just what I am grateful for, but why I am grateful for it. That really gets you engaged in the gratitude and why it makes you feel happy. You know, sometimes it's a very small thing. Again, when you start being grateful for small things, you will find that more things, greater things, come to you. One of my sons had I don't know where he got it, but I feel bad this day. He kind of had a negative attitude, and if it was, I'd be cooking supper and he'd come into the room and he'd say, "I don't suppose I could have a cookie." Or, "I can't have a cookie, can I?" Instead of saying, just asking, "Can I have a cookie?" What do you want to give a cookie to? You want to give a cookie to a kid who comes in and says, "Hey, Mom, can I have a cookie?" Or do you want to have give a cookie to a kid that goes, "I don't suppose I can have a cookie"? Think about it. Not for anybody but yourself. Do you ever have the thought, "I'm like, I can't have that"? Well, as long as you think you can't have it, guess what? You won't. Alrighty. Lust. Lust is, now you gotta listen to these words very carefully. Lust is an inordinate craving for pleasures of the flesh and the belief nothing is more important than physical pleasure. Any of the senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, all that, when these things, these sensual things, come before a higher good, that's where it's trouble. Lust, of course, is typically associated with sex. And there's nothing wrong with having passion. It depends the circumstances of that passion. Hey, if our parents didn't have a sex drive, we wouldn't be here today. Just saying. There would be no procreation. So that is a part of life, but it is a part of the human life. We have to keep creating bodies so we can incarnate, so we can learn our lessons, right? So, but when you take this desire for self-satisfaction, for what I want at all costs, that's what makes it a deadly sin. Makes it deadly to marriages. It makes it deadly to relationships. It makes it deadly to our health and our well-being. See, this is what's called practical. It's practical spirituality. It makes sense. And that's what I'm hoping I'm getting through to you a little bit, to see that, it's not about thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt. No, it's about this is why. This is why. The principle is the what, and then the reason why we have it is the why we want to do it or not do it. Okay, antidote for lust. What might that be? Connect with your higher self, reminding yourself that you are a beloved child of God and your body is a temple of the living God. Develop a new paradigm for passion. Visit sacred places, churches, temples, attend a retreat, learn to meditate. Give thanks for the good, your taste buds. Gosh, that's on my gratitude list from time to time. I'm very grateful for my taste buds. I'm grateful for my sense of smell. And my sense of smell ain't what it used to be, but I sure love what I got. And did you know you can stimulate and improve your sense of smell by using it every day? And I try to remember to do this. And for example, yesterday I was, I don't remember what I was making, but I cut a fresh onion. And I don't know if I'm the only person that does this. I cut the onion and then I put it up to my nose. Oh my gosh, that is just such a wonderful fragrance. And, and so not only does it's enjoyable, but it also, it was just delicious. It was, and it burns, it enhances your sense of smell. Do it with lemons. Do it with coffee grounds. So if any of your senses are starting to wane a little bit as you get older, they can be restimulated by using them. Using them for right cause. Everything we've got is meant to be enjoyed in the right way, which is in alignment with principle and with truth and with love and with integrity. Okay, now we have avarice, which is greed. Now, avarice is different than envy, because with avarice, it is a desire for material wealth and gain, ignoring the realm of the spiritual. The perceived need, I need riches. It's voracious. There's never enough to feel happy. This sin negates God's unlimited provision. The Bible tells us the love of money is the root of all evil. This is because it denies God's natural provision and causes us to withhold. And therefore, we are not practicing the law of circulation. Everything is meant to circulate. Remember we talked about it yesterday, about the flowers and it wasn't yesterday, the day before, about all the way that everything in the world, the air we breathe was meant to circulate. The trees that help to give us that oxygen, it's a part of their process of living. Everything is meant to work together for good. When we start thinking we have to have everything, no amount is ever satisfying, that is avarice or greed. I always, when I think about greed, I think about a picture I saw one time of Howard Hughes at the end of his life. He was a very rich man and he did a lot of good things, but at the end of his life, I saw him in a wheelchair with these incredibly long fingernails and just kind of, because all that money didn't give him peace and a sense of security. And, what is it in the scripture where it says that the lilies of the field don't have to worry about how they're dressed, and the birds of the air will be provided for. And the more we know will be provided for, the more we can open our hand to share with others. I will repeat, and I'm sure you've probably heard me say it before. The unemployment rate is very high. But even if an unemployment rate is very high, if it is 20%, that means 80% of the people that are work eligible are working. And everyone can have something if those who have share a little. Sometimes people are afraid to share. It took me so long to really stop feeling I was becoming depleted when I paid my bills. That was back in the old days. Now I pay those suckers as soon as they come in. Get them out of my house. I don't want to deal with them. But when we think we don't have enough, then that makes us start to want to be greedy and have, because we're afraid. How about toilet paper? I saw a Christmas ornament on the internet. It was a little thing, and I guess it was glass, and it said 2020 and the second O was a roll of toilet paper with a little banner that went underneath it. And it had two little Santa Clauses with masks, and it had a little thing of hand sanitizer. But remember when we couldn't get those? I was very fortunate that I have a TP thing. I always make sure I got TP in the house. Why, I don't know. I just always have to have my little cupboard full of it. So when it was rare, when it was scarce, I had no problem. And I actually was down to about the last roll when I was able to get some from Peapod at that time. Everything does work together when we trust. We don't have to be greedy. I saw the other day someone was selling, they were selling, what did they call them? Packets of sanitizer and, I don't know, soaps and things, those hand wipes and stuff. They must have gone into the store, bought a ton of them, then decided to resell them, and not happening. They're stuck with it. Or the man who bought $1,700 worth of hand sanitizer and got caught. He was hoarding it to sell for higher prices, to jack up the price and make money. That's not the way it's meant to be. We're meant to share everything. Oh my goodness, I'm over time. But if you would just come with me, we'll finish this, okay? The antidote to avarice is circulation and generosity. Begin each day giving thanks to God, provider of every good thing. Circulation prevents stagnation, which blocks the flow of your prosperity. Try to find at least one good item you are not using or money to give to someone who will appreciate it. Clean out your attic, your closet, your garage. Give to charitable organizations. You will soon find that as you are engaging in the law of circulation, all your stress and worry about having more, all the greed, that goes away and you have peace of mind. Also, you must be open to receive. Don't be ashamed to receive if you're in a tough place and someone is giving it to you. That's just God working through them to give to you. So be gracious and humble and receive and enjoy because you deserve it. Our job is to share. Then we have gluttony. Gluttony is an inordinate desire to consume more than which one requires. Yeah, that's hard. But some people just do it because of the joy of eating. Some people do it for stress. Some people do it because they've got a fear of lack or limitation. But people suffering from gluttony always feel empty inside and try to eat to fill a void that food cannot satisfy. When Jesus was sitting talking to people, he said that he wanted to give them the living water from which you thirst no more. Imagine having the living sustenance, the bread, to know you will never be hungry. Think about that. The antidote, we can shift the quality of food we're eating, because the more junky food we eat, the more junky food we want. I know this to be true. Spend time in daily meditation, searching for the empty to fill. I know that I go through that when I am under stress or when I'm depressed. So the answer is not to eat more food. The answer is to have less stress. Practical. Last one, sloth. Sloth is avoiding physical or spiritual work. This sin, as gluttony, is deadly, since failure to overcome it will bring physical death. We were meant to move, and when we move, all of our body functions better, our hormones function better, our mind functions better. So if someone is just sitting and being a sloth, if you ever saw a sloth, cute as they hardly ever move. We are meant to move. All of these, so antidote, commit to performing at least one physical activity every day. Add a spiritual component. The activity may be a walk, even if it's around the block. Walking is an opportunity to connect with nature and spirit. It could be prayer or just making ourselves mindful and present for God. All of these deadly sins and their antidotes are a matter of by right of consciousness. You know, your body will lie to you. It'll say you're hungry when you're really bored. It will say you're tired when you're really lazy. It will say you can't when you really can. So, I look at your life, see where any of these may be applying, and then take the antidote and you'll feel better. We're almost done with sin, yay! But next chapter says, or next group gathering says, but there's more. Tune in. Oh, let's see. No, not tomorrow. I'm so sorry. I cannot do this tomorrow because we've got Columbus Day weekend and we've got lots of folks coming in. So I will be working. Monday is sketchy. It's a holiday, and that's when they go home. The campers all go home, and I don't know if I'm going to be vertical at that time. Diane, I would love to talk to you about developing a meditation practice anytime you want. You can give me a call. We can chat on Facebook, or you can come by for tea and we can talk about it because it's so much more fun than you think. Thanks for being with me. Have a great night, and I will see you Monday, Tuesday. I'll tell you what, I'm going to miss it. But be good and take care of yourself.